Good morning, everyone. My name is Rachel Noble, and thank you so much for being on the call with us today, talking about Kentucky 4-H Teen Conference, the minor Leadership and Citizenship. We're going to be looking into taking the conversation deeper with our Diversity and Inclusion Leadership Workshop for Teen Conference. A couple of housekeeping items. I did send out the updated curriculum guide with feedback that we got from our minor leaders during the December in-services series. And we took those comments, we made the corrections, and I have sent that out in draft form. So please make sure you take a moment and review that. There is some difference in that curriculum from December. So make sure you review it and then let us know if you have any questions at all. You will also get a new copy of this whenever closer to time. So I'll make sure that you all get a copy of this, and then you will get a binder with all of this information once you get on site. So those are some housekeeping items. Additionally, in that email that I sent out, there is an agenda for the entire conference. You can also find that on the website, the public website for Teen Conference, so you can see when you are needed on Tuesday, June 11th, and Wednesday, June 12th. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Mia Farrell with the Office of Diversity. She's the Interim Director of Diversity, and we are excited that she's going to be talking about taking the conversation deeper to help you all facilitate conversations that might be difficult conversations to have with youth that you are building a relationship with. So thank you so much for being with us, Mia. I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right. Can you all hear me? Perfect. Thank you so much, Rachel. And I first want to say thank you all for everything that you all do in the county. And we're going to just delve right in, because after this, I have new agent orientation. So just talking about taking the conversation deeper. And so the goal of this minor is to truly bring forward awareness. And so in bringing that awareness, we want to make sure that we come in as facilitators and not take a stance. And so that is the first thing. And so we did take you all's feedback into consideration, because you all had great feedback after we had our session in December. And so you will notice, as Rachel has already alluded to, that we have made those changes. And so I think as we go through the curriculum, just make sure that you do not deviate too much from what has been given to you, because I feel that we have given you a great outline in order to have those healthy conversations, and those conversations that will start bringing awareness and start to help those youth and also those volunteers and also yourself with different maybe questions that you have had, or maybe different thoughts that you have had as you have matriculated through your career and through life as a whole. So we can go to the next slide. So the objective for today is what makes some conversations difficult. And so we'll talk a little bit about that on what makes conversations difficult for us to really discuss, why it is essential to have those conversations, and then I will leave you all with some strategies and approaches to managing difficult conversations. We can go to the next. So as far as unconscious bias, we always have to talk about unconscious bias when we talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I like to always talk about unconscious bias because we all come from different backgrounds. We all have different perspectives, and we have all had different experiences. And through those, I hope this does not look unfamiliar to you all, because many of you are, hopefully all of you all have gone through the unconscious bias training, but to go over it again, unconscious bias is the mental associations without awareness, intention, or control. And so when you went through that training, I hope that you understood that everyone has biases. And as I have already stated, based on historical challenges, events, experiences, family traditions, we have all developed these different pockets of information that we have with us today. And so the goal for us is to truly mitigate those biases and figure out how do we go beyond what our assumptions are or what we have always known and try to break down those barriers. And so that is the goal for this minor, is to really try to break down those silos and those barriers and to have those genuine conversations so that as we move forward, we won't be living with a lot of assumptions, but many hefty conversations and healthy conversations that will help us to break those barriers. We can go to the next slide. So if we look at this diversity through your lens, you will see within this iceberg, at the top of the iceberg are the characteristics or identities that we see maybe physically. We may be able to see race. We may be able to see gender, age, physical ability, and behavior. But if we look below that iceberg, there are biases, traditions, assumptions, knowledge, so on and so forth. And so that goes back to those biases. And it goes back to, if we don't have those conversations to really delve into what is beneath that iceberg, then we will not truly understand how and why things or people function the way that they do. And so it is our goal to see what is above that iceberg, but to start breaking down those silos and barriers to begin to have those conversations about our experiences and how maybe we were raised or how we were taught and why we think the way that we do, but also how do we mitigate that. And yes, we bring knowledge, we bring that forth, but how do we make sure that that perception may or may not be the reality? We can go to the next one. So why are conversations so difficult? So first, we have historical baggage. There may have been, family traditions. May have been historical events or challenges that have taken place that really hold a place in our heart, that hold a place in our family, that really doesn't allow us to have those difficult conversations. Then you will see next, there are strong emotions. And so with that historical baggage, there comes emotion. And a lot of times when we have those conversations, it's hard for us to really remove those emotions because we're invested in that. And that is a part of who we are. And then you will see next that it's potential consequences. And so through those conversations, there could be consequences, but also risk. But the thing is, we have to know how to be an effective facilitator in order to not let those emotions or potential consequences or risk truly come out to the forefront. And then we have wider conflict. And then the timing may just not be right. As humans, as extension agents, we have a lot of balls that are turning. We have a lot of things that are going on. And sometimes, many times as agents, we're taking care of everyone else and we're not taking care of ourselves. And so mentally, we may just not be there to have that difficult conversation. And then relationship building is the big one. Within relationships, you may feel comfortable to have that difficult conversation because you have a good relationship with someone, or because you don't have a relationship, you feel like, I truly don't feel like I can have that conversation with someone. And so you will see that the reason for having these difficult conversations is cyclical. You will see in this diagram here that it doesn't stop. It is always going. And so we have to figure out, how do we take our true authentic self and who we are, and how do we be vulnerable and have these conversations? And I can say through this work, I have had to practice humility many times. Every day I practice humility because when you look at diversity, equity, and inclusion, it's forever evolving. And it's not something that, it's one day it's this and the next day it's something else. Every day you learn something new about terminology, about different feelings, about different backgrounds and different things that we are faced with on a daily basis. And so the conversations can be difficult, but there are ways to have those conversations. You can go to the next slide. So think about this. So what are the reasons for the conversations? Why do I need to have this conversation now? and what factors have contributed to this. And so, as I have alluded to already, we have this curriculum lined out for you all. The goal is to make sure that we are putting our feelings aside and making sure that we are truly delving into what the true topic at matter is, and that is truly what is in that curriculum, and having those hefty conversations that bring forth that awareness ultimately when we leave from team conference. So what are some strategies and approaches? So first thing first is we must have compassion. And so regardless of, who we are, where we come from, we have to truly care about a person. Each one of us are human beings at the end of the day. And in being a human being, we have to practice that compassion and empathy for one another. And as I have already alluded to, each one of us come with different varied backgrounds, characteristics, different experiences. And so we are not here to tell someone that they're right or wrong, but we are here to make sure that everyone truly does have a voice, but we are using that voice genuinely and making sure that we are showing compassion to these youth that we are serving at Teen Conference. Secondly, bringing that awareness, and I've talked about awareness a few times, but if we truly never talk about the elephant in the room, then we're going to keep having the same challenges. And so as we become more diverse in our country, by 2050, the majority will become the minority. And so with that, how are we preparing our youth, our future leaders, to be more culturally competent and to have more awareness for those that they will be interacting with and that they will be working for eventually, if they are already not working for those people. And so we have to bring forth awareness. We have to start the conversations, and I'm very excited to be able to talk about diversity, equity, inclusion, and leadership as we have this curriculum at Teen Conference because we have to start the conversation somewhere. Students are seeing different things on social media. They see things on the news. We're seeing things in different capacities. And so we want to bring light to what is occurring, but we also want to make sure that these youth have a safe space. And it's so important that when we start this curriculum, when we start the minor at Teen Conference, we want to give these youth a safe space. And so when you give these youth a safe space, they feel more comfortable as they are talking about these different challenges and even the successes and just sharing their experiences that they have had. Next is just having respect for one another. And that goes back to compassion. Regardless of, what our opinions are, we all have opinions. We all see what's going on within the media and things like that. But at the end of the day, we have to make sure that we respect one another in that space. Ask questions from a genuine place. And so you will see within the curriculum that we have questions that are posed. The questions, they're pretty open-ended, but we want the youth to be able to ask those questions. And you all as facilitators, you may ask certain questions, but again, making sure that we use the curriculum and the questions that are in there and don't deviate too much from it because we do have a great structure and outline for you all to follow. Next is remember that a conversation is a dialogue and not a monologue. And so we want to make sure that everyone is invested and that everyone in the room has a voice and that everyone is able to have that conversation around diversity, equity, and inclusion and leadership. And so I know a lot of times we have maybe one or two students who are gung-ho and they're like, okay, well, I want to answer all the questions, but it's good to get other youth's perspective as well. Some youth may or may not feel comfortable with this topic, but the goal is to make sure that we make them feel comfortable through the discussions that are being had within our rooms. You are there to facilitate, and not to take a stand. So again, we all have our opinions. We all have our own stance and how we think things should be. But I think, as we go through this curriculum and go through the day, I think that you all will start to see that, you know, there are many other experiences and many things that these youth deal with on a daily basis or may encounter with. And I hope that it brings awareness forth for us as adults too, because we are forever learners. And I hope that the conversation does kind of bring out some great awareness and things that we can take away for the day as well. Try new thoughts and behaviors. So as we approach that day, I hope that we come in truly with an open mind. I know a lot of times some of us can be kind of stuck in our ways and think the way that we think, and that's it. But I think as forever learners and as educators, we have to kind of be open to new thoughts and new behaviors, being comfortable with not knowing. And so I know as extension agents, we have specialists and we have clientele that thinks that we know everything. And it's okay to not know. Be comfortable not knowing, because I feel that as facilitators, you're there to learn as well. And I want to make sure that you all have that opportunity to take in what is being taught. And if you feel like, you know, the topic may be getting heavy, maybe take a break and have the youth to kind of take a deep breath, or if they need to stand up and stretch or get a quick water break or something along those lines, then please feel inclined to do so. But I don't feel that the conversation is going to get that deep. But if it does, then, you know, you do have the reins to do so. Use disagreement for learning. So again, we may not all agree, but disagreement, it's okay to disagree. And having the youth to calmly talk about, you know, their experiences. We may not agree with what they have to say, but again, in that disagreement, as long as it's hefty and good conversation that the youth are having, it's okay. But as a facilitator, if you feel that the conversation is going left and it's not going down a path that you think it should go down, then you do have the you have the reign to say, all right, well, let's now talk about X, Y, and Z. So kindly just following that outline to continue what it is that the outline has for you within the curriculum. And then lastly, explore new views and learn from new experiences. So the goal is to truly learn from these youth. These are the youth that we are leading on a daily basis, and they teach us so much. And so as we are going through this curriculum and as they are learning from us and we are learning from them, just explore new views and learn from them and the new experiences and their experiences that they are very vulnerable in sharing, because many times we may come to an instance where it's just dead silence. And so you may even, through looking at the curriculum, maybe have some experiences that are appropriate for the youth that you can share that will kindly break the ice. And so, you know, sometimes they're like, I don't really know about that, or they really don't know how to connect those dots. And so as a facilitator, it'll be great for you to maybe have some handy dandy experiences of your own that they can maybe relate to and kind of start turning their wheels and maybe start feeling comfortable to share out their experiences. So I'm going to stop right there for a minute. And does anyone have any questions before I get into my next few slides? All right, well, Rachel, we can go to the next slide. And if you all have any questions, any qualms or anything, please feel free to email me or call me. I am more than happy to help you if you have any questions or anything in regards to the curriculum. So in dealing with difficulty, as far as those conversations, so some of the solutions is we are professionals and we must be professional at all times. So let's watch our facial expressions and things like that, because I know for myself, my facial expressions tell a lot. And so we just have to make sure through our facial expressions and also through what we say verbally is professional at all time. It says here, avoiding over explaining. And so again, you have the curriculum here, and just make sure that you do not deviate too much from the curriculum because we have an outline of what to say and how to go through the curriculum. Be comfortable with silence. And so initially, it may be a little bit for some of the youth to bite onto, to understand. But I think as we move forward and they start to get comfortable, because we start out pretty light as far as the activities, and then we kind of delve into some of the diversity and inclusion activities. I think as we start off light, that they will start to feel comfortable. And hopefully by that second or third day, they have kindly started building those relationships where they do feel comfortable to share. And then lastly, if you feel that, the conversation is not going the way that you think it should go, just stop the conversation and continue on with the curriculum as it is outlined. We can go to the next one. So as far as reflections, think about any difficult conversations you have had. Just think about yourself. Put yourself in their shoes, as you all do every day. When you all lead discussions, just treat this like it is a regular program that you are leading in the county. And so as you are reflecting, kindly think, what was difficult about the conversation, and what did you learn from those conversations? And we do give you some questions to kindly debrief. And so I think that the questions kindly outline and pretty much covers the outline of what we do for the day. And I hope this looks familiar to you all as well. And so we all can have on the same pair of sunglasses. And because of our experiences, because of our backgrounds and maybe our perspectives and things that we have learned throughout life, I could look through one lens and see one thing, and you can look through one lens and see another. But the ultimate goal is to make sure that we walk away with awareness and an understanding of truly who we are and what we bring to the table as far as diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so the curriculum, the minor, is not here for debate, but it's here to really bring forth that awareness and to really cultivate and to really explore and really to enhance and encourage and empower these youth of the future within Kentucky 4-H. And the last slide is the button that each one of us or the youth will receive, and inclusion starts with us. And so remember that we have to make everyone feel like they are included, and we have to make sure that we continue to have these conversations. I hope this will not be the end of our conversation as it pertains to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I am very excited about rolling this out in June. And if you all have any questions, now would be the time to take those. No questions? Was that good, huh, Rachel?
Yes.
No, but seriously, if you all have any questions, this is my contact information. Feel free to call or email me. Email will probably be best because I am in and out of the office. But if you all have any questions from here forward, just let myself or Rachel know, and I'll be more than happy to help.
And can you hear me, Mia?
Yes.
Okay. Just as a point of clarification, you all have gone through this training. I will talk about this on a large scale with your state team council members who are assigned to you as a assistant for the minor. So they will get a similar training scaled back a little bit. But I think the most important thing that Mia talked about is that this could be a start of a conversation for many young people, and an opportunity that they've not had before in their community. And we're excited to bring this opportunity to them in a safe environment. And the ultimate goal is that we create an environment where our young people feel like they can share and discuss and learn about new ideas, And then the next day they'll be able to go out and implement their new visions of inclusion and diversity in our community service projects the next day. So you all are developing a team environment through these exercises that they'll actually get to implement it the next day. So you have a huge role in their development as leaders, focusing on leadership and diversity and inclusion.
Mhm.
And like Mia said, if you all have any questions at all, please let me know. We will be posting this video online to share, and then you all will receive follow-up communication from myself closer to team conference. So we'll stay on the line for just a little bit in case anyone has any questions. Otherwise, thank you so much for attending, and we are excited to work with you.